Can you guys hear us?
Yep.
All right.
Loud and clear.
Yes.
We don't have board members yet, but to respect everybody's time, we're gonna go
Let's
ahead.
do it. Let's
We're gonna
roll.
go ahead. Yep, so we are recording the meeting for our board members. I'm sure they'll show up here in a bit. I'm gonna introduce us real quick, and then we'll let you introduce yourself, and we'll give you your 15 minutes to get going.
Yeah.
So Alberto Mendoza, I am here's Jeffrey, Human Services Program Manager. Christina is our Human Services Director, Amy is our Human Services Admin, Melissa is joining us from Senior Services, and Jeffrey just joined us. He is one of our board members. And so you're with a precious child. So we are reporting for posterity's sake. So why don't you go ahead and tell us about what you're applying for, what's been your success here so far, and then we may have questions along the way. Welcome, Jeffrey.
Good evening.
Great. So I can jump in. So my name is Becca Catala. I'm a grants director at A Precious Child. I joined earlier this year in January. I'm so sorry for the confusion thinking it was in person, but we'll roll with it.
No worries.
So just a little quick brief background on A Precious Child. It was founded in 2008 out of a garage, and that year we served about 40 kids. Now we serve 50,000 kids a year and 14,000 caregivers, so it's grown exponentially, which is amazing to see. And I think it's key to note that's not possible without the 7,000 volunteers we have a year, or the 300 agency partners that we work with, and that's nonprofits, schools, government agencies, healthcare institutions, and they really help extend our reach. We're in 8 Denver metro counties. We're in Boulder County and obviously in the city of Longmont that we serve families and residents. Basically, to qualify for our program, you are living at or below 300% of the federal poverty level, and or are in an active state of crisis. So that's the main population we're targeting. And the program we applied for is called the Resource Bridge Program. And this is essentially covering basic needs for Longmont residents. We know that there's currently about 18,000 children in Boulder County that are living in poverty. We're reaching about 9,000 currently, so of course there is more that we could do. And this Resource Bridge program is really providing basic essentials such as clothing, shoes, diapers, toys, books. And then the other piece to it is beyond those essentials is wraparound resource navigation support. So essentially those 300 plus agency partners, we have 39 in Boulder County, 5 that are based headquartered in Longmont. They refer families to our services. So for example, say it's a St. Vrain Valley School District, they have a kid that they see needs basic essentials, they can refer them to A Precious Child. It goes through our data management system. We get all of that information. We reach out and we can schedule that appointment directly with the family, and we can get them on site. When they come, they have the option to meet with one of our staff experts. And I think the great thing about this system right now is we don't have to re-verify their income or any of that information. That's already vetted by the agency partner. So when they get to A Precious Child, it is, we're going to meet your direct need, getting those basic essentials in your hands right now. We don't have to go through any of these other things. We have a scheduled appointment. You're not waiting in line. You didn't have to take a number. It's trying to really create a sense of dignity in the process. So when families come, they can sit down with an expert and they go through what are all the stresses in my life? What do I need besides basic essentials? So we can connect them with other programs at A Precious Child, and we can also connect them with that vast network of agency partners. And we have even a bigger resource catalog beyond those, so that it's covering all those stressor points, whether it's mental health, it's childcare support, it's housing utility support. In that appointment, we can also get them connected to other agencies that are doing those things. And that just helps spread the resources. We're not duplicating what other organizations are doing, except we're making both our missions stronger. So we get that resource navigation piece, and then families will shop on site. We have a massive storefront, and it's set up, with racks and shopping carts. It feels like you're actually in a store. They can shop, and I think what's unique, our mission is centered on children, but through the Resource Bridge, it is a whole family approach. Every family member gets up to 40 items during that shopping trip, and it's at no cost. Those are all free. So if a caregiver needs outfit for an interview, they can shop for that, but they can also get their growing toddler new shoes. They can get toys and books and diapers. So they can cover all of those essentials in that shopping trip. And when they get a voucher to shop, that lasts for 2 years. And they get 2 visits per year so that they can really stock up. And like right now, we're encouraging folks really stock up on the warm things like mittens and coats and get ready for the winter so that they can really plan ahead. So they'll shop, be able to get all those essentials. We save them about $2,000 a year in those essentials. So that's really saving a significant portion of their limited income. The average family that we serve is a family of 4 and they only earn $19,000 a year. So $2,000 saved out of that limited $19,000 is a significant portion. For folks that they don't have reliable transportation to get to our store in Broomfield, we offer community distributions, and they're kind of more, think, one-time, large-scale distributions with our agency partners. So for example, we just did with Wild Plum. They did a toy distribution and they got to, I think, 100 to 150 kids. And so we're able to give those goods to agency partners and they distribute it to their community. But we can also, we've worked with agency partners for ourselves to host events. So that's another avenue to get resources in families' hands. And then we also have satellite resource centers. They're basically mini versions of that no-cost store that are hosted in local agencies. So we have ones in Emerald Elementary and one in Greeley that are kind of neighboring, that if they can't get to Broomfield and it's easier to get there, they can use those, and that they can use as often as they want. And it's just, it has the similar clothes, diapers, shoes, all of those essentials, just a mini version of it hosted in a local trusted organization. So that kind of helps those time and transportation barriers.
So let me stop it because I have a question, right? So last year you were funded in particular, you just mentioned that work with Wild Plum. Last year's funding was for those, my understanding of the program was going to work is Wild Plum would get requests, here are the things that we need, and then a Precious Child would come and have that event that you mentioned.
Yeah.
Is it changing up? Are you asking for something else now?
It's the similar process. It's to be able to continue doing that and work with more partners. So I know it's McKinney.
McKinney-Vento?
Yes, we're trying to get back with them. We had a contact previously, and we're trying to explore some other partners that we could do more.
So you're asking more for expansion, but it's still the same model where you have these kind of like these requests from your partners, and then you come in, you bring your truck, and you got.
Yes. Yeah, we can get those.
And people can still go to Broomfield, but but this is to make it okay.
And
I just wanted to make sure that they understood what the program is.
Yeah, and a lot of residents from Longmont do come on site and shop on site.
Yeah, I've been there. It's a wonderful place.
Yeah.
Jeffrey, any questions from you? Oh, you're muted.
It's all right. Yeah, there we go. I had to find my mic. Yeah, that was the question I had, was just, it sounds like you do serve Longmont residents. Do you keep track of that? How many Longmont residents would this funding serve?
Yes. So the entire Resource Bridge program, our goal is to serve 750 Longmont residents. If I know we applied for an award of 7,500. So for example, say we were funded that full amount, that would directly cover 139 of those 750 residents.
$7,500 for 139 residents.
It's 7,500 grant request would cover 139 residents.
Okay. And when you say cover those residents, that means they get the vouchers you described?
So that is just what is the cost of the program to serve one resident and serve one Longmont resident, and 7,500 over that cost would help us serve 139 residents.
So if you divide
the cost of the program,
7,500 by 139, you can figure out what it costs for each resident.
$54 per.
And that's administrative. And
that's everything.
The program person, all that stuff. Okay.
Yes.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you for clarifying.
Yeah, I just wanted to make sure. Okay. Any other questions from other staff or Jeffrey? If not, thank you for showing up in person.
Sorry about that.
Don't worry.
No worries.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Thank you for your time.
Yeah, sorry for making you drive up.
That's okay. Should I just pop out?
You can just, I'll walk you out.
Awesome.
And, do you want to switch back to your office? Or, okay, so we're gonna leave here and we're
Okay.
gonna go back to our offices. Okay,
We'll
so
wait
we'll
for
let
you.
Jude and Brandy in here.
Okay, we're back on track. You're muted, Eliberto.
Okay, we're back. All right, great. So, yeah, let's go on to Center for People with Disabilities. Hey, good evening, Jude and Brandy. I'm gonna go ahead and introduce everybody just to make sure we get you your 15 minutes.
Okay.
Then we'll turn it over to you to tell us your story, what you're applying for, and then yeah, we may stop you along the way if we have questions. So
Great.
I'm Eliberto Mendoza, Human Services Program Manager. With us tonight is Amy Bustamante, which is our Human Services admin. Christina is our director, and we have a special guest from Senior Services, Melissa. She's here just to hear and listen and then give us some feedback because she does self-sufficiency work all the time. And then our current board member that's here, we're expecting others to show up, but right now it's Jeffrey. He is our board member. He's been on the board for 2 years now, Jeffrey. Yeah. So with that said, I'm going to turn it over and Jude and Brandy, tell us your story, what you're applying for in particular, you know, what the program you're doing in Longmont. And again, we might have some questions along the way.
Great. Is it okay if I go first, Brandy, and then you fill in? Okay, great.
Yeah.
My name is Jude Sky. My title is the Director of Development and Communications at CPWD. So I'm in charge of fundraising, grant writing, and also communications, newsletters, media, website, outgoing communications, and that type of thing. You may, depending on how much you read into our proposal, we're a Center for Independent Living. That's a very unique type of organization. You have to meet certain mandates and apply to get that. We're not case management. We don't offer prescriptive services. Our whole goal is to assist people with disabilities, with any disability, at overcoming barriers to living independently. So we have a whole continuum of different programs and services. We're networked in the community through collaboration. We've been around for 47 years. We have information and referral. And so we make sure that that circle of support, starting from, benefits and housing all the way to skills training and job seeking, gets put in place depending on the person's goal. Each person gets to identify their own independent living needs, and we translate that in Brandy's team into independent living goals and then work with them to achieve those, either by coming into our programs fully or in part, and then working with other providers in the community. There's no cost for the consumer for any of our services. We support all of our services and our overhead, through a variety of revenue, which is grants, and then also what we call earned income, which is nothing from the consumers, but it's Medicaid reimbursement and also reimbursement for some services from the Veterans Administration and some from the Department of Vocational Rehabilitation that qualify. And there's no sort of start and finish requirements. You can come on and be a consumer for as long as you need us. It's sort of a self-advocated program, but we do offer, sort of that responsive counsel to help guide people along this journey of living independently. And what we're talking about for independent living services are primarily information and referral. So people need to find out what's going on, what do I do, where do I get the resources, how do I sign up for programs, where else do I need to get help? And that's a complex and challenging journey to navigate a lot of times. So that's a critical service that we put into our proposal. Also, independent living skills training, which could mean anything from, home navigation to learning to take public transportation to even learning how to fill out your application for SSI and SSDI, to using adaptive technology or assistive technology, screen readers for people with visual impairment, white cane training, all those things that are needed. And then peer support and peer counseling. And the thing that's unique about that is it's people with disabilities, supporting people with disabilities. It's sort of a non-quantifiable magic catalyst in this whole formula, where people find sort of the experience, strength, inspiration, and courage to move forward with their independent living goals. Because a large part of success for somebody with a disability who wants to live independently is overcoming all types of forms of marginalization and discrimination. Some of those are internalized and some of those are external, and they kind of are at a challenge point from the beginning, to overcome that attitudinal force in order to step in and have the courage and self-advocacy to take the steps to move forward and live independently. So we usually serve about 450 unduplicated Longmont residents every year. I think we put in 350 in our proposal for numbers or something like that, just to be on the safe side. And we operate in 6 counties, but primarily in Boulder County, and then Adams, Arapahoe, Gilpin, Weld, Broomfield, Boulder County. So that's a quick overview. I'll stop there. If Brandy, if there's anything you want to tune into a little bit more, please go ahead and add some more information. Thank you.
I just wanted to add that one thing that's unique about the services that we provide is that many of our staff have lived experiences of having a disability as well. And so we're here as a peer support as well to help them when they're navigating, learning independent living skills. So our staff have that shared experience that they can, help them kind of overcome any obstacles that they might be facing, or just kind of just to be able to kind of feed off each other and get that support back.
Yeah, more to that point, as a Center for Independent Living, we're mandated to have at least 50% of our staff and board be persons with disabilities, and currently that ratio is closer to 75% right now. Some of our staff have actually started off as consumers, became volunteers, and then wound up working for the center at some point too. Yeah.
Thank you, Jude and Brandy. Board staff, any questions? I know I have some, but I'll defer to board first if Jeffrey has any questions.
Yeah, just one question. Thank you for the work you do. First of all, tell me a little bit about the people you serve. What's the demographic makeup of those folks?
So overall, in terms of, well, I can hit some highlights just from memory here. So in terms of income, about at least 83% or below make less than $10,000, 10,000 to zero a year. Our demographics in terms of ethnic composition is probably about 22% BIPOC, the general category, and then somewhere around 75% Caucasian, and then some other, like Asian, Native American, that thing in there. And then our demographic in terms of gender is usually about, I think it's like 60% female, about high 30s% male, and then a portion of non-binary, trans, other genders. And then in terms of age, most of our consumers are over like 40 to 50 years old. So we have consumers everywhere from 14 years old to over 100 years old, more than 100 years old. But I would say probably something like 70% of our consumers are over 50. Would you agree with that, Brandy?
Yes, I would agree with that. Our program for, I'm so sorry, that's my daughter screaming. Our program for low vision has older demographic, so kind of when you're averaging out, yeah, I would say that's about correct.
Yeah. And then the other demographic is sort of housed, unhoused, veterans and stuff. but we don't have like a way to distribute that across our consumers, but there are a significant number of people are either unhoused or living with family. And then we also serve currently directly about 500 veterans with disabilities every year as well. Yeah.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you. Good question.
Awesome. So Melissa, were you going to ask a question? Sorry, I thought you went off mute. Maybe you were going to ask a question.
Yes, I just had one question. You mentioned providing guidance on applying for SSI, SSDI. What is the outcome, and do you guide them through that whole process as far as when they get denied, the appeal process, and then what are your outcomes as far as getting approved, and how long does that take when you guys go through that process?
Great question. Is it okay if I take a stab at that, Brandy, and you can fill in if I make any mistakes? Okay. So the bigger story of this is, at the Social Security Administration, things are a mess, right? It's really hard to get through. I mean, it's hard for anybody to fill out those applications to get approved, never mind individuals with disabilities. What we have that's unique is we have on staff 2 non-attorney representatives. So they were trained and were certified by the Social Security Administration. So they're not just, Social Security benefits counselors. They actually are certified to do all of the functions and tasks and assistance that an attorney could do up to a certain point. So for recertifications or what you call appeals, they can do that in lieu of an attorney. They also have connections at the Social Security Administration, so they can check on the progress and try to make sure. And they also have been trained exactly how this form needs to be filled out to be successful. So I don't know what our exact success rates are as far as a percentage, but they're infinitely higher than people trying on their own. And another aspect of this is that the timeline usually for approvals can range from anywhere from like 6 to 18 months, but we're able to sort of move that along a little bit faster because of our expertise and our knowledge. So we're able to cover all the aspects of that, everything that they need. So if somebody's been denied, they can come to us. If they need a recertification, if they need to start applying, if they want to learn about the difference between SSI and SSDI, whether they qualify or not, what's going on. And on top of that, we also have a certified CPWIC it's CPWIC, which is certified benefits counselor that is trained and expert in helping them figure out, if I start making money, how will that impact my income and health benefits, and where's the line where I can go through this timeline and not threaten my survival, but also stay on the benefits while I'm looking for a job at the same time. So Brandy, I know I probably fudged a few things in there. Can you tidy that up for me a little bit?
I think you did great.
Thanks.
One thing, one of our non-attorney representatives just got sworn in as an attorney. So we have an attorney and a non-representative attorney on staff. The process, it can be very difficult, especially when you're dealing with the administration where paperwork is getting lost. So our staff are there to help walk them from the beginning all the way to the end and really help them build the best case that they can so that they can get approved, hopefully on the first time. It can be a lengthy process. And I don't have numbers like of our success rate. We're a newish program, and so we're kind of building up those numbers. But we are there, to walk all the way to the end and stay with them as long as they're wanting to file an appeal. We want to support them along the way.
Yeah, we've had stories where people have submitted paperwork, waited, and then the SSA says, we don't have your paperwork. But our non-attorney representatives have access to their managers and can say, this was sent on this date. Here's the copy. Find that paperwork and process it. Let's go. What's going on? Or somebody else who, through some clerical error, was sent a letter of demand where your benefits are all ending now and you're in demand to repay $45,000 within the next 30 days. And it was a clerical error. And we were able to go into the SSA. If this happened to the average person who was on, benefits or, public benefits and struggling with other things, and they got that letter, that would be completely devastating and overwhelming. And fortunately, we were able to intercede and remedy that. So, yeah.
Perfect. Thank you so much. Thank you for all you do.
So thank you, Melissa. Thank you.
Great question. And with that, we are basically at time. So I want to thank Jude and Brandy for joining us tonight. Great work that you do. And yeah, have a great rest of your evening.
Okay, if any other questions come up, Eliberto, please email me. I'm happy to address anything.
I will.
else
I
you
actually
need.
have some questions, but on my side that I'll email you, Jude.
Okay.
So, all right. Thank you.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you, everyone.
Okay, bye-bye.
All right. And our next group is in the, except I'm not sure who Paul Melroy is. Is he with
He's in-
Intercambio?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay, perfect.
Okay,
That's
I'm letting
perfect.
him
Then
in.
Go ahead and let them in. All right. Good evening, Paul and Lucia. I'm hoping you can hear me.
Good
I'm going to
evening.
go ahead and quickly introduce our side, and then I'm going to turn it over all to you to tell us your story and to make sure you get. Oh, here's Katie. Let's let Katie in. All right. Here's Katie. Yay. Hi, Katie.
Hi, guys.
All
Sorry.
right. So I'm going to. No worries. I'm going to introduce everybody real quick, and then we're going to turn it over to Intercambio for them to tell us their story. So first from the board, we got Jeffrey and Katie. Jeffrey's been on a couple of years. This is Katie's first year. Staff side, we got myself, program manager, Amy, our program assistant. Christina is our human services director. Melissa is a special guest from senior services. She does self-sufficiency work for the city at senior services. And so we're just going to turn it over to you all to tell us your story and what you're applying for here in Longmont.
Hi, everyone. Nice to see you. Some familiar faces, some other are new. Thank you for having this meeting and an opportunity to tell our story one more year. It's our pleasure. So I'm Lucia. I'm the Grants and Evaluation Manager. And Paul, you want to introduce yourself?
I'm Paul Melroy. I'm the Chief Financial and Operating Officer for Intercambio. Lucia will be doing the storytelling. I'm here to help answer questions if needed.
Yep. So, okay, so I have like 15 minutes to present our proposal, I guess. Okay. So, like any other year, our proposal for City of Longmont this year is to serve 403 Longmont residents, adults that have limited English skills, immigrants in Longmont. And we have been running English acquisition programs for adults since the year 2000, so 25 years this year. So it's our 25th anniversary. And this year, we're increasing the number of students that we're serving in Longmont and in general in Boulder County. The format is the same as always. We're offering group classes at our Longmont facility and in our Boulder facility too, and in other partner facilities in Boulder County to which Longmont residents can go to if it suits their schedules better. So yeah, we have a facility in Longmont, another one in Boulder. We offer group classes there at least twice a week. We also offer one-on-one classes, and this is all in our proposal as well. For the one-on-one classes, the student and the teacher meet the student or teacher houses also twice a week, and they're in person and they're online. So the student can decide what's better for their lives, for their family and their schedules. And what's really unique about our program is that we offer a relationship-based and also volunteer-led approach to teaching English for English learners. So what that means is that our program started 25 years ago, really as a grassroots initiative between community members in Boulder, in the city of Boulder. Some people were immigrants, some other people were not, but they wanted to learn more about each other. Of course, English learners wanted to improve their English skills, but also people who was born in the community or in the United States wanted to learn more about people from different backgrounds, different cultures and roots. So they got together to converse and to start a group. So that's how really intercambio, which in English means exchange, was created, to make an exchange between cultures and backgrounds while learning English and increasing the self-sufficiency of English learners. And that became a nonprofit that grew and grew until now we have around 1,000 students, or 800, between 800 and 1,000 in the Boulder County area every year. And yeah, so our teachers, as I was saying, volunteer led. Our teachers are volunteers. They have always been volunteers in the community. And that is pretty cool, I'm going to say, because a volunteer program allows for more of that exchange that I was talking about before. Of course, if you are a paid employee as well, but there's something about having that desire to volunteer and contribute to the community that makes our classes very special and make that bridge between cultures that I was talking about before. And it inspires some magic and some two-way learning exchange between those groups. And that always happens. And our outcomes from our participants tell us that our volunteer teachers get, they say way more than our students, because they get to learn about immigrants, about their families, about their countries of origins, their food, their customs. And for them, it's very special to be more integrated into immigrant communities, to advocate for them, because they advocate for them after that. They open their minds more than they had it before. And in sum, we contribute to creating a more inclusive community that way. Our students, on the other hand, of course, they get communication skills, they improve the ones they have, but also they feel more connected and more confident to operate in the community, which are two elements that are incredibly important for communication. Because no matter if you speak a language, if you don't have, or if you don't feel confident enough or connected enough to speak it, you're not going to. So our curriculum focuses on confidence and connections, and that's the name of it. Because beyond teaching academically English, what we do is to create that integration around the student so that they can successfully navigate this society, these structures, the education system, the healthcare system, how to take a bus, how to fill out their taxes, how to read a medication label. All that is included in our curriculum. So that is not only strictly academic, but more oriented to creating that sense of belonging and integration and being more self-sufficient, like this grant is oriented to for them in the community. And that's unique in our program as compared to other programs that also teach English, which are all amazing, and we refer students to one another. But as we said in the proposal, our program is especially unique in that we create our own curriculum on confidence and connections. We have 7 levels of English, which is probably more than any other program has, because we understand that every student comes from a different profile. Maybe one student has been here 25 years and they speak it very well, but maybe they don't know how to write it. Maybe another student is completely new in the country and they don't have any communication skills. So that's why we focused on creating a wide variety of levels that could successfully assist all the profiles that we have receiving in Intercambio. Hi, I need to take air. Take air. I've been like, do. What else? That's our proposal.
that's
Keep teaching English. Yes.
Yeah, that's all. No worries. Thank you for doing it in a concise. You just took 10 minutes. That's great.
Okay.
So let's take a break and see if there's questions from the board or other staff. Jeffrey or Katie, do you have?
Yeah, I was just curious. You mentioned the relationship that's formed between the volunteer and the student. Are there other examples of how the student integrates into the community? Do they get involved in the community in some way?
Yes, absolutely. So every term of classes, we have 4 terms of classes every year. 9 weeks each. So during each term, we have field trips. Those field trips involve visits to museums, to the library, to community events, so that they can increase their civic participation and learn about other resources in the community, and of course, practice their English. Every term, we also bring other nonprofits or other resources to the classroom so that they can explain what they do and offer their services for our students. And we have around 24 community gatherings in Intercambio. So it's not like our students going out, but people coming in. So for instance, our event Community Conversations, to which you're all invited once every term, several times every term actually. Any community member can come to have these kind of speed dating style communication conversations with our students. It's like a 15 minutes bell based conversation, getting to know each other, and they don't necessarily have to be their teachers. It's better if they're not, actually, so that other people can come and practice conversation with them and learn from each other.
Nice.
Awesome. So we still got a few minutes. I actually have kind of a technical question about the request. Maybe this is more for Paul than it is for the CX. So just so you're aware, I look at the agency, the funding. My job on this evaluation is to look not necessarily the program, not that I don't read it, but that's where the board lives. They live in the program. They judge whether this program is in the Longmont needs and is aligned with their priorities. I take a look at agency health, making sure that financially you're in a good position. And I guess my question was, it was interesting in your program budget, and we can have further conversations, Paul, but some of the things that were on there were things including in our request, for the city of Boulder, for the building in Boulder and stuff. And just want to make sure that we understand what, I think the way that it was done in a very, I'll say very thorough manner. But I think we want to have conversations, if you do get awarded, about how we fund, how we distribute those funds.
Fair enough. So I think one overarching thing to keep in mind with us is just how much underwriting there is. So we spend roughly more than $1 million locally to put on our in-person and one-on-one programs. I mean, that's the cost of the staff and all the activities we do with our students. We get earned revenues of about $140,000, give or take, for all of that. So we're underwriting ourselves about 85% of our activities in Boulder County. Lucia probably has a better idea of the split, but it's roughly 50-50 in terms of the number of students that we serve out of our Boulder location and serve out of our Longmont location. So we spend quite a bit of money that we either have earned from our curriculum sales or from our fundraising efforts. That is how we do what we do. And one of the big challenges right now is figuring out, like, we know that there's more demand than we can meet at the moment. So we're trying to figure out, how do we get more efficient? We're in the middle of doing we spent almost $250,000 creating an internet-based learning system. It's going to be the hub that every student interacts with. Even the local students will go there to do quizzes or to practice homework and things like that. And that'll also be our hub for online stuff. We're doing some one-on-one stuff nationally now. So we're trying to get more efficient. We're trying to make our team more productive. So we're stretching every way that we can to try and serve as many people as we can. So as you might imagine, it's a little bit of a gray area, figuring out, when we take whatever funding we've got, trying to figure out exactly what we can do with it. but I want to put that in perspective. We're underwriting about 85% of what we do, both in Boulder and in Longmont.
Right.
So it's
Yeah,
we're
no, I
putting
get
quite
that.
a bit in.
Yeah, no, I totally get that. Again, that's a conversation that we can have once, if you were awarded, we can fine tune those details. I'm not too concerned about it. I just wanted to point it out. So we are actually at time. Thank you so much for being here tonight and sharing your story. We really
Thank
appreciate
you.
and answering our questions. And yeah, have a great rest of your night.
All right,
Thank
y'all. We
you
appreciate your
for helping the
consideration.
community. Thank you. Thank you. Bye.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
All right, and we have Ricardo Cabrera from My Wealth Being in the guest in the lobby, so we can let him in. Hey, Ricardo.
Hey,
Can you hear us?
Alberto, Mark, how you doing?
Good, good. Hey, I'm gonna go ahead and introduce our board and staff, and then we're gonna turn it over for you to tell us about what you're applying for in Longmont, in particular, and tell us your story a little bit. And then we may stop you along the way with questions. But I'm gonna do a quick introductions from our board. We have Katie and Jeffrey. Jeffrey's 2-year member. Katie's brand new. We're excited to have her. She's great. We also got from staff, you got me. Amy is our admin assistant, and Christina is our director. And we have a special guest, Melissa. She's from Senior Services. She does a lot of work around self-sufficiency around seniors, and so she's here to kind of give the board some of her perspective. So with that said, I'll turn it over to you. Tell us your story.
All
What are
right.
you applying for?
Well, I'm applying for the lottery, of course. Yeah, no, I'm applying for the self-sufficiency funds, of course, and we are looking for help to help us with overall operations, mainly part for salaries, part for operations. We are My Wealth Being, and we're a nonprofit organization. Of course, we do financial education. We also do one-on-one consults and coaching. We are finishing our 5th year. Next year, we're starting our 6th year in operation. We've been mostly, until this year, a volunteer-run organization. So meaning the board members did all the work. This year, it's about the same, but we are paying a half-time salary to the executive director, me. I am also the founder. Still doing most of the work myself, and with the help with the board in Boulder County. So speaking about Boulder, the services we offer, we have several services. One called the Circle of Wealth, and the Circle of Wealth is a workshop series. We cover 10 different topics. At this point, we have 10 different topics that we cover. And these are in-person or virtual presentations. This year in Longmont alone, we've been in front of 102 individuals, 13 workshops. We have 3 more on the books by the end of the year. Altogether, for what it's worth, we've been in front of 508 individuals. About 50 workshops or so, some in Boulder, some in Longmont, some in Lafayette. We work closely with the resource centers. So our center in Longmont, Sister Carmen in Lafayette, EFA, they have a financial health course which we help them with. Okay, so that's our workshop series. As far as there's Pete. Pete is on our board of directors. Okay, so our one-on-one consultations are just that. After you get to hear some information on on a workshop, the next natural step is, okay, so I got this information, what do I do now? A lot of things, especially in financial coaching, is individual circumstances that we wouldn't be able to help somebody in a public forum, right? So we have one-on-one consultations where they can schedule a one-on-one, virtual or in person, and then we go through whatever they need. It could be budgeting, it could be getting out of debt, it could be retirement planning, and it could be whatever else, insurance issues, whatnot, real estate, buying a house, starting a business, all things wealth is what we offer in our one-on-one consultations and in our workshops as well. That's okay. That's another one. The other new thing that we started this year piloting, there are pilots for this year. We started doing a train the trainer program because obviously I don't have enough time. We on the board, we don't have enough time to do all this work anymore. So we are starting a train the trainer program where we are training individuals to go out and help us do the presentations. Right now, it's a 12-hour program. It's a very leadership oriented. We talk about being a fiduciary. We talk about presenting in public. We talk about how to be a coach. We talk about financial concepts. So it's a holistic type of a training program where people can feel confident to be and do the work that we are asking them to do. The last thing we have as a pilot this year, which has been on the works for a long time, is that we have a web app. So it's a tool where you can log in and it helps you with your budget. It helps you calculate your net worth. It helps you with a snowball strategy, which is a strategy to pay off your debt. And it helps, it's got a goals manager, and this is all free for everybody. We plan also to have a premium version, a paid version, to help us fund ourselves, where we have a home affordability calculator, so how much house you can buy with what you make. It's got a retirement planner where it tells you, plan a retirement. Things like you may have to save $200 more a month to make your ends meet then, projections. It's a good starting tool. It's not the answer for everything. It also will have a life insurance calculator. It's got a rental calculator. So if somebody wants to say, I want to buy and rent an apartment, it's got a calculator for that. All right, so that's the app. It's on beta now. Some people have used it, get some positive results from that, and we're hoping to make this part of our tools offerings for our participants. So those are the services that we offer. Just to add a little context to all this year we have worked with, and whether through workshops or one-on-one consultations with Longmont. This is only Longmont. I Have a Dream Foundation, with Recovery Cafe, with Our Center, Wild Plum, El Centro Amistad, Tinkermill, the Latino Chamber of Commerce. With them, we had a 6-topic, 3-week course for business planning, and Habitat for Humanity. So specifically with Our Center, we also started this month office hours. So this is something where their case managers being in front of people and deciding, well, this person needs some help, some one-on-one consultation for finances. So they are able to schedule an appointment in person direct with me, and I'm there every other Monday for 4 hours. So they can get that added benefit provided by us. We do have on this tool, which is actually something they really like. We have a back end on our app, so the case manager has the view and they can see the participants' basic finances. So it helps them track progress over time, and offers pro tips. So this app is intended to be an educator, a mentor, and a coach. So we have pro tips. We have videos that talk about all the concepts that are in the app. So if somebody doesn't know what cash flow is, they can see a 30-second explanation and so on. Again, this is new. We're still in beta, but it's been my piece de resistance for about 4 years, and I'm glad it's here now. So,
Awesome.
enough
So
about
I'm gonna give the board a chance to ask any questions or other staff. Thanks for telling us your story and what you're applying for. I want to make sure I give the board a chance to ask. And welcome, Pete. Good to see you.
I had a question. Ricardo, are your services open to anybody in the community, or are there certain sectors of the community that you've targeted in trying to help specifically?
our services are open to anybody. Ideally, we're getting people in the workforce, right? I do courses to young kids, to younger high school kids, and it's good. It's a great education. They're amazingly sophisticated, and the kind of questions and results that I get when I talk to a high school kid, right? But the idea is that you're on the workforce, and you're getting started in your financial life. And of course, they don't teach this in school. You know, most of us learn this through the school of hard knocks, and it doesn't get in our radar until we're in our 40s, right? When it's not easy anymore. So by design, we are mostly focusing right now. We have been focusing right now with nonprofit organizations, right, and their staff. So in Sister Carmen, for example, I've had, their whole staff has been in front of me talking about finances, which is also needed, right? But to answer your question, yes, it's available to the public, always free. There is no fees or no cost to the public. We are starting to ask fee for service for the organization. So hopefully, the people with the money can pay. The participants are free.
Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you. Katie or staff, any other question? Oh, go ahead,
Yeah,
Katie.
just a quick question about the difference. Like you mentioned the number of people, maybe 500 folks. How can you kind of break that out in terms of like how much of that is the workshops versus the one-on-one? And is there a part of the population that's strictly engaging through the app?
So for Longmont, we've had 102 people through workshops, and I've had about the number is about 50 people for one-on-ones, right? So it's a two different numbers. So 102 are strictly workshops, and I've had about 50 one-on-ones in the Longmont population. And the app, I don't have much yet. I have about maybe 20 users, but I'm not pushing it too hard yet. I just have 20 users that are testing it, so I can get an initial review, and it's been helpful, right? I get good comments back, and once it's ready for the public, then we'll start pushing it purposely. And
so Ricardo, we got about a minute or so left, but I want to talk a little bit because you and I have had some really good conversations about outcomes. Talk to the board a little bit about how you guys are tracking outcomes and helping folks, track their own, first of all, surveys and stuff, but talk to the board a little bit about your outcomes and what you're working on there.
Yeah, so our outcomes, we get them through a survey, through an evaluation. And this evaluation asks 4 basic questions. It asks, did I learn anything new from the workshop? Do I have a better understanding of finances? Am I motivated to make changes? And in the past 3 months, I started asking the next question, which is, in the past 12 months, has my well-being, or because of my well-being, have you made, or what changes have you made? And surprisingly, I can tell you I've been getting numbers like changed financial habits, 23%, saved 16%, feel more confident, 15%, made a budget, saved an emergency fund, those are about 12% each, reduced debt, reached my financial goals, those are also about 10% from the people that replied, and started a business. So it's nice to hear that, and it's hard to track this because, you know, whatever class we talk about, it takes time for these results to happen. I can talk to somebody in 20 minutes, and it takes 6 months for results to happen. So this is something new that we're asking, and it's part of our evaluation. So, but they
Yeah, but I
mainly
think it's
a survey thing.
Yeah, I think it's important that you're actually doing it and you're trying to track those longer term outcomes. I think that'll strengthen the program. So we are a little bit over time. Ricardo and Pete, thank you so much for joining us tonight. Appreciate it. And if the board or I have any follow-up questions, I will send something out to you guys.
Well, thank you, Alberto. Thank you, everybody, and appreciate your support.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you, guys. Have a good night.
Bye-bye.
All right. We got the R Center in the lobby. Let's go ahead and let them in. Hey, Mark, can you hear us?
Yeah, let
Did
me,
we lose Mark?
1 sec. There we are. Can you hear me all right?
Mark, we're gonna quickly introduce the board and staff, and then we're gonna turn it over to you to tell us what exactly you're applying for in your program. And then along the way, we might stop and ask some questions. Very quickly, we have Jeffrey and Katie from the board. Jeffrey's been on 2 years. Katie is brand new and love having her on. We got Amy is our human services admin, and Christina, of course, is our human services director. And we got a special guest in Melissa tonight. She's from senior service. And she does lots. I'm sure you know her. And so, yeah, we're just gonna turn it over to you and tell us what you're applying for. Tell us your story.
Sure. So if you're not familiar with the Our Center, I'll just give you the quick rundown. We're a family resource center located in Longmont, obviously, and our service area is the St. Vrain Valley School District boundaries. The exceptions to that rule is we don't serve Erie because Erie's split down the middle between St. Vrain and BVSD, and it just makes more sense to go to Sister Carmen because it's a heck of a lot closer. And then we also serve some of the northern mountain communities, so Lyons all the way up to Riverside, Allens Park, Raymond, just before you go down into the Valley of Estes Park. So we also serve some of the mountain communities as well. As a family resource center, our goal is to work with families who are struggling to meet their basic needs. Sometimes it's just a bump in the road. It could be, like a loss of a job or an accident or an injury, just something that's happened where it's been difficult for a family or a household to keep up with their basic needs, whether it's rent, utilities, food. Sometimes we do a lot of car repairs lately, it seems like, too, just to help people continue to make sure they can get to their job, get their kids to school, etc. We do the bump in the road. And then we're starting to work a lot more with families who just are, they've been hanging on by their fingernails and they've just been sliding down the wall ever since COVID. And, they just have not been able to get caught up. The cost of living in Boulder County has just continued to increase. And they need some sort of assistance, usually longer term than just a bump in the road, but longer term to help them create greater resiliency and stability going into the future. We do these programs, or we achieve these goals through several programs in our building. We do, well, one of the asks that we have in our grant is for our community market, our community cafe. So those are our 2 food programs. We serve breakfast Monday through Friday, and then we serve lunch 7 days a week, 365 days a year. I will also say too, we don't ask for very much to access services. We figure it's already difficult enough to get in and come ask for the help. So as long as individuals can show that they live in our service area and also show that they're housed at that particular moment, just because we can't do both lanes at once, it's not possible. Individuals can access any of these services. And also when I say families, that's interchangeable with households. So it doesn't necessarily mean you have to have kids. We're starting to see more senior citizens, as Melissa knows, and she lives in that world, that there's a lot of individuals with fixed incomes right now that can't keep up either. So when I say families, basically that could be a single adult all the way to, 2 parents with 5, 6 children, etc. We also have our community market, which is our food pantry. Households can visit the market up to 3 times a month. Let's see, we have our resource specialist team, which is our case management team. We provide a lot of direct financial assistance, so rent assistance, utility assistance. I mentioned car repairs earlier. That team will work with families in 2 different pathways, and you'll have seen that in the application. We have what we call now a Resource Now, which is a new way of doing some work. It used to be ever since during the pandemic and since we've come out of the pandemic, you would call in, you would have to wait 5 weeks to get an appointment with one of our resource specialists. And unfortunately, that's not timely enough for a lot of those families that were in, dire situations. So what we've created is every Tuesday morning and Thursday afternoon, we have what we call Resource Now or open office hours, where as long as you're not asking for rent assistance, but if it's utility, car repair, medical assistance, maybe getting connected to other resources in the community, you can walk in, you can see a resource specialist on the spot. And if you're requesting some sort of financial assistance, we can usually give you an answer within 24 hours. So that way you're not waiting 5 weeks to find out if we can assist, how much we can assist, and even get the assistance. And then we have our Pathways program, which is our longer term. Most individuals who are looking for rent assistance, we have found that one-time assistance is not going to, it'll help in that moment, but they've been coming back 6 months later, 8 months later, because we put a Band-Aid over that current situation, but we didn't help them in any way create that longer term stability. And so now we take those individuals and we work with them. We ask them to join into one of these Pathways programs where we can provide more financial assistance over the course of 3, 6, up to 12 months. One of those programs, Homesteady, is funded by the city of Longmont. That is one of our programs. We also have one through the county and the state, and then we're funding one ourselves through our fundraising. And part of the ask for this grant would help us provide the direct financial assistance so we can work with families over the course of several months.
I was gonna ask about that because I just want to make sure I understand, because so on the application it seems like you're asking for 120,000, but when I look at the program budget, it says it's 200,000. So what's the correct number?
I didn't catch that. That is a great question.
Yeah, and part of it in the program budget, it's 150,000 for direct financial assistance, right? And I'm assuming that's rent. And so I was just counting the difference between Homesteady and this just to make sure that we know what exactly, because you're already being funded for Homesteady.
Right. Yeah. So this would be, and I'll have to, Eliberto, I'll have to follow up with you back on that because I don't want to waste the committee's time trying to look through, because I missed there was 2 different asks in there. This would be funding the Resource Now, so that one-time bump in the road assistance, and then it would also help fund our Pathways program, which are individuals that aren't in Homesteady, they're not in HSP or Housing Stabilization Program, or in that state FRC program. So this gives us a 4th avenue to work with more individuals seeking that family development work. So this would be, it's some of the similar work, but it's a different lane doing different work than Homesteady.
Okay.
Does that answer your question?
Yeah, and we'll talk more, but we'll get some more clarity on it. But I want to make sure the board, if they have any questions, or if Christina has any questions.
No, I think getting clarification, on the amount and kind of what what that would cover, I think would help me yeah, that would be helpful.
For sure.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, so because I'm looking, what I caught was the 30, the 60, and the 30, which would be the 120. So I'm thinking the 200, wherever that's at, is the typo.
Okay, so then,
Yeah.
and that's mainly covering staff, right? That 60, 30, 60, it sounds like it's mainly covering the resource, either the Resource Now folks or the Pathways folks. And that's kind of the way I read it.
We would be looking more. I mean, we could be flexible either way. I'm thinking more direct financial assistance. So this money would go directly to the families to, assist with those bills. And
Okay.
we have other
So
revenue
covering bill, yeah.
Yeah.
And that's fine, because this year the board did allow that, we did make that change that we could do
Yeah.
direct financial assistance. So that would be allowable this year, right? So you're talking that these 30, 60, 30 would be more either, covering utilities, covering car repair, covering,
rents.
okay.
Yep. Yeah.
Rent if
And then
needed. Okay.
Yeah, and then the 60 for the food programs would be kind of overarching. It'd be a little bit of staff, some food purchases to keep up with the need. We're finding it more difficult to come up with stuff with the cafe, so there'd be food purchases for the cafe as well. So that one would be a little bit more of a mixture of overhead, staff, if you will, and then food purchases.
Okay. Well, I'll have to work, so because of the way that we do it, we have buckets. So you may end up getting funding from the food bucket, funding from self-sufficiency bucket, and potentially from the housing bucket, right? So it's going to be an interesting way how I approach this, because and you've always been that niche organization that covers, you're pretty broad, right, compared to like Community Food Share, who's only food, or in between that's only housing. You kind of do it all, and so we'll have to work on that out. So 120 is the right amount.
Yeah. Let's go with 120. Yep.
Okay. All right. I will do the work I got to do.
All right.
Any other questions?
I got a quick question. Mark, you probably know this is a really competitive round. So we've got a lot of important work that we're learning more about and making some hard decisions. It sounds like your ask covers a couple of different needs. I just wonder if we couldn't fund it all, is there one need that's more important than the other?
That's a good question.
It's a great question. I can't put a priority on it because, I can tell you from the rent and utility assistance side, we've done some recent data snapshots, and the requests are coming in at around 30 to 35 a week and over $100,000 a week in assistance requests. We've got budgeted $750,000. If you do the math, we're looking at maybe 25 or 30% of the need that we're going to be able to meet on that front. And then from the food side of things, we've been working on a plan to increase, because we used to allow weekly visits, and then we had to drop that down to 3 times a month because the donations weren't keeping up with the community need. And we're getting a little bit closer, but we're slated this year to give out more pounds, and at least since the data I can find for the Hour Center, we'll be at about 1.3, 1.4 million pounds. And we're still not quite in a position to meet all the needs and go back to weekly. So it's almost, I hate to be cliche, it's almost like pick your poison at that point. If, we can't get the funding, we're seeing funding dropping off. The same story over and over again. We took about $450,000 cut from a lot of contracts last year. We're having a lot of grants tell us this year that it's more competitive, and, some are backing out. And so, I don't have a good answer for you on that.
Yeah, I totally understand.
Just an honest answer.
Sure, that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Just quickly, one other question we oftentimes ask is how many Longmont residents you serve. And I just mean in these 2 programs you're asking for funding for, how many Longmont residents do you expect to serve?
I wonder if I have that data in front of me, because I know we touch approximately between 18 and 20,000 individuals benefit from all of our services, and our food pantry and our cafe are our two biggest programs by 1.5 miles. And approximately 90% of everyone we serve is Longmont residents. So, I would say it's safe to say anywhere between, 85 and 90% of about 18 to 20,000 would be Longmont residents served by these these three programs, our two food programs and our rental assistance programs.
Got it. Thank you.
All right. Well, Mark, we are at time. Thank you. I think we'll follow up. Maybe I'll set up a time to talk to you, and then I'll follow up with the board just to get some more clarity. I'll email the board that's reviewing this application. But yeah, thank you for your time this evening, and have a great rest of your night.
Yeah, thank you guys. Appreciate all the time you're putting into
Good
this.
night.
All right, take care.
Thank you.
So, Amy, we got several people in the lobby. I don't think they're all next.
No,
think
only Greg is next. Damari and Lara are from Sister Carmen. So I will
Okay,
let
do you
them
mind
stay there.
Okay, do you mind emailing them and let them know what their time is? That would
Yeah.
be helpful. Because I mean, they can stay there. I don't want them waiting. So
Yeah,
all right, I'm gonna
I
let
will.
Greg in.
Okay, I will go ahead and email them.
Thank you. All right, Greg, how are you, sir?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing great. So, Greg, I'm gonna introduce our board and staff real quickly, and then I'm gonna turn it over to you to tell us your story, tell us what you're doing, and what you're applying for. So I'm gonna start with board. Jeffrey has been on the board for 2 years, and Katie is a brand new board member. Excited to have new members. For staff, you got, of course, me, Human Services Program Manager. Amy is our admin. Christina is our exec director, and we got a special guest tonight in Melissa. She's from Senior Services. She does a lot of work on self-sufficiency and resilience. And so I'm just going to turn it over to you. Tell us your story. Tell us what you're applying for.
And I'm waiting for my grant person here too.
Who's your grant person? Maybe they're in the lobby.
Come on, Greg. Christy Britt.
Oh, Christy's in the lobby. We'll let her in.
I let her in.
All right. Thank you. Hey,
There
Christy.
we go.
Hey, Alberto.
Well, welcome. We are at the point that we're just letting you tell the story of qualified listeners and what you all are applying for this year for Human Services in Longmont.
Perfect. Sure, I'll just jump in. So we are applying for funds to support our veterans and their families with our direct service programs. Our programs are designed to help keep veterans, keep that hope in their lives. Even some of our programs helping to keep them in their homes if they're about to perhaps lose a home for a financial reason, whether it's rent assistance or helping with a vehicle repair. So our programs, and I'll just kind of go through those really quickly. Our base programs are our listening sessions, and those are our peer-to-peer listening sessions where we're pairing veterans with other veterans to really have that conversation that they're not able to have anywhere else. Those are a lifeline to our veterans who don't qualify for the VA system, who have not, who aren't comfortable reaching out to maybe a government-run entity. And so really these listening sessions help with that resilience and building that next step into what they can do to move forward with their lives. Within these listening sessions, we're asking and we're trying to find out what are these other resources that our veterans need to really not just survive their next day, but go ahead and start thriving in their life. And so we provide direct connection with other resources, as well as connection with our direct service programs. And some of those are our transportation services. So we provide transportation to veterans and their family members to anywhere that they need to go, whether that's the grocery store, even a ride to the store so they can, get their work, get some work supplies. We do also do medical transportation, and we have a wheelchair transport van, which is a huge benefit to a lot of our disabled and paralyzed veterans. We also do basic needs and home modifications, helping veterans create a safe and accessible home. We're looking at, something as simple as just some basic safety repairs or even a whole remodel of a bathroom. If perhaps a veteran is facing some mobility challenges, we'll remodel the bathroom, taking out that bathtub and making it a step-in shower to really reduce those falls and again, allow them to be in a home where they feel safe and they're able to really live and thrive and enjoy their life. And so that's just one of the very basic things that we do in the homes. And then we also do, we have our benevolence fund, which is direct veteran support. And that's where we're looking at, again, if that might be a rent assistance or help paying just a heating bill or that car repair bill. In that program, we are vetting the financial circumstances of that veteran. We are really looking to make sure that this is an absolutely needed piece to just help them move forward. And we are not making those payments directly to the veteran. We are making it to the vendor to really ensure that those funds are being used to support their lives and their families' lives. So we are seeking support to help us move forward those operations. The need continues to grow, and specifically in Longmont. We've more than doubled the number of requests that continue to come through year over year. So last year we served, I think it was 222 veterans in Longmont, and to date, through August, was to date when we submitted the grant, we had already served 283 clients, veterans in Longmont. And so really that need for veteran support is continuing to just grow exponentially, and we just want to continue to be able to meet that.
That's awesome. I see in your program budget that it's primarily staff salary, which is great. I love staff salaries. It's easy. It's a straightforward agreement. It's primarily staff salaries for, let's see, a program director and 2 family care coordinators. And those are the ones that kind of help navigate veterans through the programs you just mentioned, correct?
Absolutely. Those are the ones that are having the direct support with our veterans.
Awesome. So I just want to give a chance for the board, see if they have any questions. I mean, I say the program has grown because last year you only applied for the medical transport piece. Now it feels like you guys are doing a lot more. The one concern I did have, and it's in your application, is it sounds like you're growing, but one of the concerns I did have is you mentioned you have no financial reserves. That's always a concern to me. What's the work being done there?
Well, I'll definitely speak to that. The work being done there is that I came on as the contract grant writer here with Qualified Listeners in July. I have, and actually you'll see me in about 30 minutes with my other organization, but I have over 20 years of experience in the nonprofit world, specifically 10 years in Boulder County and the aging and the veteran community. My connections with the veteran community, both personally and my volunteer work, really lend those relationships to come in, and already, even in the last 3 months, already starting to secure some additional grants that we've not gotten before. One specifically is a $30,000 grant we got last month from the Housing and Finance Authority. So we already have momentum, and it's only going up.
Great, thank you. Yeah, that was my biggest concern when I read my part of the grant. Yeah, so Jeffrey or Katie, any questions from the board around the program's parts?
I just was wondering, when you mentioned, you described the folks that you serve as not being eligible. I didn't quite understand the distinction. Is it a segment of veterans that you serve? Can you just clarify that for me?
So there's a general misconception, just because of how the VA operates, is that every veteran is eligible for VA services. And only maybe 40% of veterans are.
Okay.
And so our services are open to any veteran who served. No discrimination. They have a DD 214. We're going to help them out. So we're trying to catch those that are falling through the cracks and have no other support.
So that brings me a question. So Greg and Christy, how's the work going? Like, I mean, there's a lot, not a lot, but there are several veteran serving operations. I'm assuming then that you're working pretty closely with like VCP folks, the Veterans Community Project, and Boulder County's veterans. So is there, because I was at a meeting recently a couple of months ago at VCP, and they had this whole bunch of veteran services folks together. And I'm happy to forward you their email, and I'm sure you already get it. They get together, all these veteran service, and they like have these social hours to just talk about the work that they're doing. I'm just wondering how connected qualified listeners is to that group of folks.
That would be great. Greg, I'll let you speak to that a little bit. I'm connected with a lot of them on different levels. But Greg, I'll let you speak to that connection with qualified listeners specifically.
We've met with every organization I know of that supports veterans, and we will partner with any of them that we can. If our relationship can benefit us both, we move ahead. But sometimes they're not. And for example, VCP, we don't really deal much with homeless veterans. If one of them comes in our door, we just shoot them off to them. Or VOA, there's organizations that focus on that, and we don't. We focus on the front end stuff on, we'll say, triaging people who have a need, because the people who call us are stuck. They have bad information or no information. So we answer all their questions that we can and then give them the resource. So we're not day to day with VCP, but certainly we send each other people. But
Okay.
an event like that, maybe it was just a night or a time that we didn't have time to do it.
Yeah, no, that's fine. Yeah, I'll actually forward it to you, Greg, so you can at least see it. And then if you wanna get on that list, because I joined that list serve just because I'm interested in seeing what collaborations are happening. And I think it's not just Boulder. That collaboration seems to be Northern Colorado wide. So I'll forward you that email so you can at least check it out.
Thank you. Yeah, we attend as many as we can.
All right,
But
great.
yeah, we'd love to have that. Thank you.
Yep, I'll forward it along. Any other questions from the board around the program?
Yeah, I had a quick question about, you said most of the funding will go towards salaries. Are those new employees because you're growing, or would the funds cover existing positions, long-term positions?
Currently, it's for existing long-term positions and, just that portion of their time that is focused on the Longmont clients.
Thank you.
Awesome. Any other questions for Greg or Christy? All right. If not, Greg, Christy, thank you so much for being here tonight. Appreciate all that you do, and have a great rest of your night.
Thank you.
Thank you so very much. Bye-bye now.
All right. Bye. All right. We have a couple of minutes, and I need a bio break. So I will be right back. All right. I am back. Of course, folks, take care of yourselves. If you need to take a bio break, go ahead and do it. Remember, this is being recorded. You can always come back and review it. So let's so Damari and Lara are with Sister Carmen, and they're next, right? Is that correct? All right, let's go ahead and let them in. All right. Hello, Damari. Hello, Lara. Thank you for joining us tonight. I'm going to very quickly introduce our side of the folks here, and then we will go ahead and turn it over you for you to tell us your story and what you're applying for. And yeah, so let me do that real quick. So from the board, we have Jeffrey, who's been on for 2 years. Katie's a new board member. From staff, we have myself. Amy is our human services admin. Christina is our human services director. And we have special guest Melissa from senior services, who does self-sufficiency and resilience with seniors. And so we're going to turn it over to you all to tell us your story and what you're applying for.
Okay, so our story is that for the last 8 years in Boulder County, we have been providing digital access or digital equity services, mostly for the Latino population and also with a special focus on older adults. The reason for these two populations, the focus there is because we find that there are just a lot of folks who have not had the opportunity to learn to use a computer or online applications, either in their schooling, right? So in either in their home country or after they have arrived in this country, if they have arrived as an adult. And some of them have not also had the opportunity to gain these skills in workforce, mainly because the majority of our participants are women and of school-aged children, and so, or older adults. And so they really haven't had the opportunity to work in fields where they needed computer skills or have been excluded from those sorts of positions because they don't have the experience and the skills, working mainly in childcare, cleaning, food service, landscaping, that sort of thing, right? Or at home. So the majority of the people who come to the class are looking to gain the basics and also a device that's affordable. So those are the main pillars of the program. Is everybody gets their own dedicated laptop, and we have 8 weeks where we can go over at the pace of the group the basics of email, sending, receiving, organizing, deleting, cleaning up your inbox, adding attachments, downloading a document, attaching and sending a document, the basics of internet security, like how to recognize phishing, fake emails, fraud, scams, how to see if a website is certified and secure before putting your information in, and best practices like saving websites in your browser as opposed to clicking on links that you get on your phone. We also work on documents, right? So working on a little bit of word editing, saving, saving as PDFs, sharing documents, editing. And finally, we work a little bit on online resources such as the parent portal, the St. Vrain Valley School District Infinite Campus portal, or emergency services or resources like the senior center or other library services that we show them where they are and how to bookmark these websites for easy access. So these 8-week courses, at the end of it, the participants get to keep the computer. So the hope there is, as opposed to the just sort of device giveaway programs that we saw a lot of during the pandemic, we have people who are using the computers for 8 weeks with an opportunity to ask questions, to see if everything works for them, to just get comfortable, to turn things on and off, to close programs, open programs. A lot of what we do is just very repetitive, like, okay, where are we going to find this, right? So last time we worked on a document, where do you think we're going to look to find that document? It is not a class that is based on having to follow a formal curriculum. We have these apps that we're trying to work on, we're trying to get everyone familiar with. And we provide a little bit of wraparound service as well with our digital navigator, which is a new part of the program that we've had for the last year or so, where after the people get their computers and take them home, they can still call up, they can ask, they forget something about class, they want to learn something new, or they want to use, or if they're using a different device, even they don't even have to be participants in our class. So we have been doing these classes in the city of Longmont, I believe, since 2021, shortly after the pandemic. We have had the classes at the Hour Center, at the Senior Center, at the old firehouse, the Family and Youth Services Center building on Lashley. We have done them, Damari, you might want to help me here, in schools. We've done Timberline Pre-K through 8 several times. We've done, help me out here. What are some of the other schools in Longmont?
Rocky Mountain, yeah, Rocky Mountain, Timberline, yeah, that's cool.
We've also partnered with other Longmont, organizations like the Latino Chamber of Commerce. We've had classes there several times. We have partnered with the Lafayette Public Library and the Senior Center over the last almost 2 years now. And we have worked with Open Door also to offer classes with them. And is there anywhere else that I'm forgetting, Damari?
Yes, I forgot to mention the Columbine Elementary, Longmont High School too.
Oh, and Intercambio.
Intercambio.
Yeah. That might sum it up. So
That's
one
awesome.
part of the program, I'm sorry, Eliberto, did you have
Oh, go
something?
ahead, finish out. No, go ahead, finish out.
One part of the program that, so this program is actually the host, the fiscal sponsor for this program is Sister Carmen Community Center. And as you guys may know, that is a community center whose main population that they serve is just East County, right? East Boulder County, for services like their food bank and their parenting programs and their nutrition and health living programs. This program is different because since the beginning, it was a collaborative effort between different organizations that saw a need. So everything from Intercambio to St. Vrain School District to Boulder Valley School District to the city of Boulder to, EFA and Our Center, they all recognized the need. And so the program was actually applied for a grant originally from Rocky Mountain Mile High, which was then later swallowed up by Mile High, or Rocky Mountain, United Way, which was swallowed up by Mile High United Way. And then the program lost funding because it's a program for adults and they only fund programs for children K through 8 or K through 12. So this program, because we've seen a need all over the county and because some of the funding comes from county, some of the funding comes from municipal, we try to spread it around and move around so that it's not housed just in Sister Carmen. In fact, we may only have 1 or 2 classes in Sister Carmen a year because the need is actually, quite honestly, greater in Longmont than it is in Boulder and in Sister Carmen, due to the majority, there's a larger Latino population there that is not had access to the program.
Awesome.
And so we're asking for funding.
We've got time for some questions from the board.
Yeah.
Does the board have any questions?
Yeah, I was just curious if you could give me some numbers. How many computers? How many students? How many classes? That sort of stuff.
Yeah, so on average, we've done over the last 5 years, we tend to have about 300 participants per year. Roughly 1/3 of that is Longmont. So far this year in 2025, we've had 79 participants so far in Longmont. We typically have a graduation rate of between 80 and 95%. We kind of bend over backwards to try to help people. The original model was that they had to have a, complete 100% attendance to be able to graduate and have the computer at the end. We allow or two, absences if someone has something that comes up. And we do offer a lot of makeup classes. So we use the digital navigator in that way as well. So if someone misses a class and they, send us a text, I'm not going to be able to make it. Well, great. Can you come in this other day or this other place? We'll meet you. We'll get you caught up. And that's, led to a really successful graduation rate for a program like this in Boulder County with this population. And so, the numbers of computers we distributed to Longmont residents last year was 107. I think that we have in the scope of work for the application 60. We'll easily meet that. We currently have a class of 30 at the senior center. That is a big class. Our average class size is about 15, and the proposal is based on that. Doing 4 classes a year, 2 spring, 2 fall, with an average of 15 or max of 15 people in the class, although we always let in more if they want.
Lara, I would like to add it, in addition to the main course, we have been offering follow-up workshop based on the need identified through post-session survey. Some examples including focus session on using email, navigated internet, and learning to use some apps like Google Photos or Canva. This additional workshop helped the participants continue building their confidence and expand their digital skills beyond the introductory class.
Awesome. That's great. Any other questions from the board or staff? All right. Well, Laura and Damari, thank you so much for joining us tonight and telling us your story and what you're doing. Appreciate it, and have a great rest of your night.
Me too. I appreciate you guys all putting in the time outside of regular work hours for you. I know this makes for a long day for some of you. All right. Take care.
Thank you.
And please feel free to reach out through email or whatever way that you want if there's anything that you missed or any follow-up questions that you didn't think to ask.
Yeah, typically I ask them to email me and I'll email you. So that way I can email all, because there's 3 board members. One board is not here to review, but there's 3 board members reviewing your application.
Okay,
So
sounds
I want to
great.
make sure that
Thank you guys.
everybody gets the answers.
All right, bye. Gracias, Damani.
Thank you. All right. So next we have Lisa and Ryan. They're both from Via Mobility Services. Good evening, Ryan. Hi, Lisa. How are you?
Hey, good. How are you?
To see you all. Thank you for joining us. So we've kind of changed the format. I'm going to introduce our board members really quickly here and staff, and then we're going to turn it over to you to hear your story and what you're applying for this year for Longmont. And then we may stop you along the way. We've got questions. So let me start with our board. We got Jeffrey, who's been on for 2 years. Katie's a new board member. And then staff, you got myself, me. Amy is our human services admin. Christina Pacheco is our director. And we have special guest Melissa. She is from Senior Services. She does a lot of work on self-sufficiency and resilience. And we're just going to turn it over to you. Tell us your story. Tell us what you're applying for in this grant.
Go ahead, Ryan. Yeah, so Ryan Avery, I'm the Grants and Contracts Manager for Via Mobility Services. And so, basically, we've been providing transportation services in Longmont and throughout Boulder County for 46 years. It's a very specialized service. It's a door-through-door transportation service rather than like a curb-to-curb or just a stop-to-stop kind of thing that you see elsewhere. And we find that 80% of the people we drive, we serve about. It fluctuates, 300 to 500 Longmont residents per year. And in 46 years, we've served thousands, several thousands of Longmont residents. And so basically, you know, we're applying for the same services we've been providing for every year for the past 46 years, which is that specialized, very caring, driver-assisted, door-through-door transportation service.
Yes, we
So-
go ahead. Oh, go ahead.
I was gonna say, so just remind me, so this is typically, you know, so your typical client, Lisa, for this program, is it somebody with disabilities? Is it older adults? Is that's what I'm just wanted to get some clarity on that.
Yes, it's for people 60 years of age and older and or have a disability. And that's why that door-through-door service is so important, to be able to cross the threshold, go into their home, help them get their coat on, get them to the vehicle, and then take them into where they need to go, you know, whether it's up, you know, to a second or third floor at a hospital or at a facility. We take them right into where they need to go. A lot of our people have cognitive issues. We don't want them to get lost or get scared, you know, think that they know where to go, but they're unable to get there. So we make sure that we provide that service. And this summer, we got some additional funding and were able to give some weekend service for Saturdays and Sundays, which was wildly successful. A lot of people like that. It was Saturdays and Sundays from 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. So that was very, very helpful. And then VIA decided as of September 1st to go fare free. We did have a fair in Boulder County and in Estes Park. We decided that after speaking to so many of our riders, and doing a survey that we did last year, that a lot of them had to choose between paying for a trip or being able to maybe go to a doctor appointment or to buy groceries. And we didn't want that to be a stumbling block for people. So we removed our fares. And so everyone is riding fare free. It's very successful. We're averaging about 50 new riders for Longmont registered every month, which is great, and being able to continue to serve the population who needs us so desperately.
Awesome. Any questions from the board?
Yeah, just curious about drivers. Are these volunteers? Are these staff? What kind of training is required to participate as a driver?
Yes, so we have volunteer drivers. We currently have 8 that definitely are tremendous help, but most of our driving fleet or our force is paid drivers. Their training is extensive. They do 2 weeks in classroom. They do revenue, they do non-revenue training. If someone needs that little extra, we will make sure that they get it. They do defensive driving, pass class, and everything in between. We pride ourselves on a very robust training program that is done in-house by our employees. They are drug tested, they are background checked, and anything else you can possibly think of. It takes a special person to do this. It's a tough job. In and out of the bus, every stop, up and down stairs, lugging groceries. And so you have to really care about your community, care about the people that we serve, to be able to provide this kind of service.
See, thank you.
We think we have one of the best driver training programs for this type of service, probably in the country. It's really good.
Yeah, and we have companies that come to us to train their drivers because of the fact that it's so intense and so much information given.
Awesome. So I have just a question. So the board looks at the program and makes sure that the programs align with our priorities around help if you'll be self-sufficient, and they kind of take a look. I kind of look at the financial piece and just making sure the agency's healthy, looking at the program budget, make sure. And so you're asking for 20,000. That's primarily for salaries. I'm assuming that's for the drivers, primarily for the driver salaries.
I mean, it can go any all sorts of directions, but yes, that's primarily where the most
You're
need
asking
is
for, okay.
for driver wages. Yeah.
Yeah, and so just so the board knows, VIA typically gets it runs through our contract or our agreement, but you also get 150 typically is what you receive from our transportation department for this program, right? So we provide a small percentage of the funding, and then our transportation department has I mean I don't know their budget, I don't control their budget, but they typically have set aside funding for this program as well, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Tell me
Yeah.
a little
So
bit about. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
yeah. It's like you said, it's 150,000 from the transportation department. We it fluctuates from year to year, but typically we spend between $600,000 and $800,000 per year, specifically on Longmont residents.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. I know we only play a small part in the overall funding of that program.
Every bit counts.
Yeah. No, I get it. Yeah. Any concern with the Medicaid cuts? Yeah, you're one of the agencies that I know get some. Do you guys get any help from Medicaid? I
No.
thought you did.
No.
No.
Okay.
We
Okay. All right. All right. Any other questions from the board or staff?
Yeah, I'm just learning about all these great programs. Any trip qualify, or is it limited? You mentioned doctor's visits and grocery stores. Are there some trips that just aren't allowed?
No. So wherever someone needs to go, it can be visit a friend, it can go to the senior center. We realize sometimes they go there for the luncheon because it might be their best nutritious meal of the day. You go to the grocery store, visit a friend, you name it, dentist, doctor, physical therapy, anything like that. So yes, wherever they need to go. And then we also take Longmont residents into Lafayette 1 day a week. We take them to Boulder and into Boulder 3 days a week, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, so that they can get to other areas because not everyone stays in their community, right? Sometimes their doctors have moved or something has happened where they need to go to another town. And so this allows them to be able to do that.
Sure. I think you mentioned even Estes Park.
We don't do Longmont into Estes, but we do serve Estes within Estes Park. Every now and then we try to do a shuttle, like from Longmont residents going to Estes and Estes down to Longmont. We've done it probably 4 or 5 times over the years. And it starts off good, but then sort of peters out, and better to do it in the summertime than in the winter, because then the roads up there can get pretty dicey. Yeah, it's always something that we're looking to improve on, and we're hoping to work with Estes Park to have a shuttle next summer, but that's still a work in motion depending on funding.
Yeah.
Thank
So
you.
Lisa, with such a great program, do you guys ever get into a wait list type of situation?
We did about 2 years ago, coming out of COVID. We did have a little bit of a wait list for Boulder County, but we were able to get drivers to come back. And the one thing we don't have a problem with is driver retention and getting drivers. So we're fortunate in that regard. So there is no wait list currently for anywhere other than the Denver metro area that we serve.
Wow, that's great to hear.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Any other questions for Lisa or Ryan? All right. If not, thank you all for being on tonight. Thank you for sharing your story and telling us what you're applying for. Appreciate the work that you do here in Longmont.
Yep.
Thank you very much. Have a good evening. Bye-bye.
All right, folks, we got to actually have 5 minutes before our next agency. So if anybody needs a bio break, this is a good time to do it. Be back here at 7:30 for our next clip. We're doing great on time. So thank you for sticking with us. All right. Only a few more agencies to go.
Almost there, almost there.
Yeah, it goes by fast though because we have very quick, intense
Yeah.
conversations. So the night kind of flies by. All right, so Christy is back. Oh, go ahead, Katie.
I was just going to apologize. I thought we started at 6, which is why I came on.
Oh no, no worries. It's recorded. What you missed was that somebody, our first applicant, actually showed up in person.
Oh.
They-
Just
they-
like me.
Yeah.
I was
So we
so
just had them-
confused.
Yeah. So that's fine. We just put them in the conference center and we had it there. All right, we can let Christy in. She is back from, but now for her organization, Cultivate. Hey, Christy, welcome back. This time you are back for your organization. I will skip the introductions because you already heard them. And yeah, why don't you go ahead and get started about what you're applying for and what your program does.
Perfect. Well, good to see you all again this quickly. So Cultivate is a 53-year-old nonprofit serving older adults in Boulder, Broomfield, and Weld counties. So our grant request is for general operating support to help provide programs to continue to support those older adults. We have 6 programs available in Longmont, and those are our carry-out caravan grocery delivery program, which provides weekly grocery shopping and delivery to older adults. Our VetsGo, which is medical transportation, and that is specifically for veterans and veteran family members. Those rides, they go outside of the county, so we're taking our clients to Colorado Springs, Wyoming, Loveland, Longmont. That program, certainly we partner with other transportation agencies, as you just heard about earlier. We have our Fix It program, which is home repair, minor home repair, and safety modifications. We're really going into those homes and finding ways to keep our clients safe and aging independently. So looking at installing grab bars, finding little things that could be trip hazards, changing doorknobs into levers, those things that become a little bit more difficult as people get age-related or mobility limitations. We have our yard and Snowbusters programs. Those are our outdoor programs. Yardbusters is a once-a-year yard cleanup, really focused on eliminating those code enforcement violations and also creating a safe environment free of trip hazards. And the snow removal, of course, reducing falls and slips. And also the code enforcement piece of not being able to shovel your driveway. And then we have our Phone Buddies, which is our companion call program. We pair a volunteer with a client and they get to pick what schedule works for them to check in with each other and really form those connections. And that's really what all of our programs are designed to do. Not only are we providing these direct services, all of them, of course, are at no cost to the clients. We're really providing these direct services that give them those tangible pieces to help them stay safe, be able to remain in their homes. But the bigger piece is that connection, that the reduction in social isolation and depression, which studies show that social isolation and feeling lonely can add significant health declines to anybody of any age. And so, we're really just kind of looking to do that on a holistic level. All of our programs are provided by volunteers who are background checked, vetted, and oriented with all of our programs. Most of them have been with us for more than 5 years. And so just to be able to continue to provide that service, we're always looking at the needs of the community and making sure that our programs align with what our older adults are saying will really help support them we haven't really had to change our programs a lot because those needs really don't change and they stay pretty consistent.
Awesome. Any questions from the board? Yeah, I do have one clarification to make in here in a second, but I'll see if Katie has any questions. Go ahead, Katie.
You mentioned in one of the programs, veterans, but not in the others. Is it just the one program that's veteran focused and the other programs are just any senior?
Correct. So our basic requirements are living in Boulder, Broomfield, and some parts of Weld County, that the client must be 60 plus. And the reason that our Vets Go program is veteran focused is that when that program was designed many years ago, it was designed in collaboration with VIA. And when they really built out their volunteer program, we wanted to do something that didn't duplicate service and really being able to get those clients out of the county because those VA facilities are so far. So we agreed that we would keep that part because again, that need is also so big that I don't think there's enough providers that could cover all of that need.
Thank you. Yeah.
So, well, first a clarification and then a couple of questions. Clarification is, this funding doesn't cover general ops, but you're actually asking for staff, for program staff, which is totally fine. I guess then the question is, it's such a needed program, but in the past we've talked about wait list and just the need. So how is that going? Has that improved? Is it still really challenging?
Really, the only programs that have a wait list are our outdoor programs, Snowbusters and Yard Busters. The other programs we have been able to serve all the clients that have come in. 36%, just to touch on the first part of your statement, 36% of our clients live in Longmont. So the funds to support our staff, I mean, we have one staff that's fully dedicated to a store in Longmont, and that's our Longmont grocery program. But then otherwise, 36% of our clients do reside in Longmont. So we do have a heavy presence there. As far as the wait lists go, we'll never not have a wait list for the outdoor programs, and that's just because it's time limited based on the weather, and it is the hard labor work, if you will. And so our yard program actually has really grown in the last several years in terms of the number of clients and even the number of volunteers that are serving. We've really put a heavy focus on service days with organizations, whether youth organizations all the way up to businesses. And so although there's a wait list, again, we continue to just add and serve as many clients as we can until the weather says no. And we do continue to pair volunteers throughout the winter for that snow shoveling and continue to recruit so that we can, even if we have to add a client halfway through the season, that's better than no snow shoveling at all.
Yeah, and then I had you said something that really caught my attention. You talked about code enforcement, and I'm wondering what level of partnership, and I will be upfront and transparent. My wife works over at Code, so yeah, I'd love to know if there's any type of referral process, because I wonder if there isn't, if I can help you start one.
Yes, please. We have one with the city of Boulder specifically for snow, where we send them all of the addresses of our clients throughout the winter. And so if the snow is not shoveled within as they're driving around, but that address is on our list, they call us because maybe our volunteer was on vacation or running late. And so we get that all squared away and the client never even has to be contacted. I would love to, if there's a referral needed, or if we could do something like that with the snow. Because then the homeowner doesn't even have to worry about it because we're taking care of it on the back end.
Yeah, I'll talk to my wife about it and
Awesome.
see what we can do. When you said that, I was wondering because I know that there has been times where code has had to step in and remediate older adults yard. For a lot of reasons.
Yeah, Melissa, do you still have a snow chaser program at Senior Services?
So we work with Cultivate with the Snow Busters and try to get people connected that way.
All right, perfect. That's what I was wondering.
Okay, so I'll make a connection with code as well, and yeah, go ahead, Katie.
Just one other question. Have you worked with the school district? I was just thinking about all the required volunteer hours for the high schoolers, especially their specialized programs. I don't know if you guys are connected to them, but those guys have a lot of hours they have to do.
Part of what when the previous manager was at Senior Services and I was at Children, Youth, and Families, we had that discussion. I think part of the concern is minors doing that because Michelle thought that was a great idea, and I was like, well, we work with a lot of kids that need hours, but I think our legal counsel said that might not be the way to go.
Maybe maybe not.
Yeah, maybe older kids, like 25-year-olds. Yeah,
we have some youth organizations when we have minors, especially in our yard programs, we do require at least one adult on site so that we do allow 16 to 18-year-olds do yard work on their own with their parents' consent. And we are connected with a few of the specialized programs like Silver Creek Leadership Academy. We've done some, I actually had one of their students as an intern doing some work for us. So we do try and connect, but yes, Christina's right that it's a little bit tough because sometimes the parents are like, well, I don't want to go with them every time. And so if we can find a parent who wants to sponsor a group, then that's awesome.
Wow, that's great. Any more questions for Christy about the work that they do?
Awesome. One quick note, Alberto, because I think that's a great point when you asked about the wait lists. When it comes to our wait lists, we used to, just kind of do a first come, first serve, or, if it was like a help planting a garden, that moved a little more to the bottom of the priority list. And we really came up with a priority process for our Yard Busters program. And so our safety issues and our code enforcement issues move to the top of the list, and we flag those so that we can really get those taken care of. So yeah, that I guess that's just a note that would be an awesome conversation because we'd love to add those immediate things so that we can take care of things before they cost money or create angst.
That's exactly what I'm thinking. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. We've had some issue with older adults just not being able to, and I think if there's a way that we could have that prioritization, I think that would be great. So I will work on my part and connect with code and
Cool.
make sure that we make that connection.
Excellent. Thank you.
All right. Any other questions for Christy? All right. If not, thank you so much for your time and being here. We really appreciate it. Have a great rest of your night.
You as well. Thank you so much. Good night.
All right. So now we have a new program that is coming in. It's called Happy Day Plants. Do you want to let Katie in? Hi, Katie. Can you hear us?
I can hear you just fine. Thank you.
Awesome. Since you're new to this process, I will do a little bit of a quick rundown. So this is being recorded and it will be in the City of Longmont YouTube page. you know, our folks have been applying for years. They know that already. I don't usually cover that, but since you're new, I want to let you know that.
I appreciate it. Yeah.
Yeah, and so I will introduce the folks that are here tonight, and then we're going to turn it over to you to tell us about what you're doing, what you're applying for. But let me start with introducing our board members. These are volunteer board members. They're fellow residents here. Jeffrey's been on the board for 2 years, and Katie is a brand new board member. And then for staff, my name is Eliberto Mendoza. I'm the Human Services Program Manager. Amy is our Human Services Admin. The Director of Human Services, our Human Services Director is Cristina Pacheco. And we have a special guest from Senior Services, Melissa. She does self-sufficiency work through with seniors. And so, yeah, we're just going to turn it over to you to tell us about your program, and in particular, what are you planning? What are you applying for? What are you going to use the funding for?
Excellent. Thank you so much, Alberto. Hi, everybody. Thank you so much for inviting us to this process. As Alberto said, my name is Katie Doyle Myers, and I'm representing Happy Day Plants this evening. Jessica Birmingham is the founder and executive director, and unfortunately, she has a family conflict this evening. I have had the pleasure of serving as their nonprofit advisor for the past year, so I support them in everything from establishing their governance and programming, financial structures, and also helping with their communications and fundraising. So the mission of Happy Day Plants, which may be new to some of you because it's a new nonprofit, is to create meaningful and dignified employment for young adults with intellectual developmental disabilities, while also advancing a culture of inclusion that uplifts us all. So the nonprofit was founded by Jessica in 2024 when she noticed a need for her daughter, Bailey, who has Down syndrome, and Bailey's friends to have inspired and dignified work options after high school graduation. To date, Happy Day Plants has employed 17 young adults in their storefront, which is at 501 Main Street on Longmont. We just got signs, so hopefully you've seen them recently. And we've worked with over a half a dozen businesses to spread our model. We've also hosted countless community events and have piloted a signature social program that we call Happy Day Hangs. And so we started that in July. We've already had over 50 adults with intellectual disabilities and their caregivers come to those monthly gatherings. So we know with support from the Human Services Fund, we can really broaden and deepen all of those, especially that employment. With support from you all, we could increase, we have 5 employees right now from our target audience, and we know we could increase that to at least 2 to 4 additional employees. We have a wait list right now of, I think when I made the application, it was 14, and now it's 17 people. We anticipate that growing with the closing of Biddy and Bose in Boulder, which is one of the few and far between businesses that does offer employment and specific training and support opportunities for adults with disabilities. So we're respectfully requesting $53,000 from the City of Longmont's Human Services Fund. And we are looking to advance your area of economic stability, mobility, and resilience for the folks we work with. And we also see a lot of ripple effects in the community as a whole. I wasn't quite sure. I have a little bit more to say, Eliberto. Should I focus more on like Q&A, or I probably have another 3 minutes
if you got more to
so?
say, we still have
Okay.
time. You can,
okay,
you can
great.
share whatever. I mean, I have questions,
Okay,
but
great.
you can go ahead and finish up.
Great. And so just to be really clear, our goal is through our integrated program, which I'll go into in one moment, is to increase equitable employment opportunities for adults with differing abilities. 2, to foster genuine social connection, not just with them amongst each other, but with community members as a whole, and to build a more inclusive workforce in Longmont and the surrounding areas. So we'll do that through 5 key activities that are really interrelated. Number 1, the employment option in our storefront in Main Street. Number 2, a volunteer program for community members. We have volunteers helping here and there, but we really want to solidify and formalize that so that community members get to work and learn and connect alongside our focused employees. Number 3, we'd like to grow and deepen our on-site plant consultations where our focused employees get to travel with Jessica or another one of our employees to interact with other local businesses in Longmont and throughout Boulder County. We call that our Grow With Us activity. Number 4, we're really excited about Happy Day Hangs, with Jessica started because her heart breaks that she cannot employ every single person that would like to work with Happy Day Hangs. So this is her way of being able to expand the offering while she's waiting to be able to have more spaces for employees. So she started this in July, and every month there's a different theme and activity for Happy Day Hangs that takes place at the store, which if you haven't been in it yet, is such a beautiful and inspiring space. And then the fifth activity would be sharing our model with other local businesses to be able to scale workplace inclusion. So we're piloting that already, and we're really excited to have the capacity to be able to do that more. I've mentioned Jessica. She's meticulously designed this. This is not just haphazard. She used both her lived experience as a parent of a young adult with intellectual disabilities, and her background in community counseling. And so I love watching her in action. She has very consistent expectations. It's very structured. The routines are very structured. The employees know what they're going to do, but she also provides individual training, and she has other employees that help with that training on a daily basis. The culture, whether they're in the store or out in other businesses or at community events, is all about building skill and confidence. Jessica's on a quest to change the limited opportunities that exist for adults with differing abilities. But she knows that every day, every week, there's businesses that say, we want to do what you're doing. But she just knows that they need a model to follow and coaching to get started. And that's part of what we're looking to do with Happy Day Plants. So in Jessica's words, for many adults with disabilities, navigating the traditional workforce can be a daunting journey filled with hurdles. We're here to bridge that gap, offering opportunities for meaningful work and a chance to showcase their remarkable talents. Every individual is welcomed here, treated with the utmost respect, and given the opportunity and support to achieve their personal and professional goals. We're hoping through this grant opportunity in 2026 to reach a minimum through those activities of 130 unique individuals. This is in addition to well over 1,000 people who come in contact with our mission via shopping in the storefront, our diverse community events and outreach, and our partnerships with other local businesses. I wanted to close with a couple testimonials, but I'm just going to read one to start with. The other one's in the application packet. This is from John Holcomb, who's been a Happy Day Plants employee since the shop opened. Recently, when he was being interviewed about how he felt about working at Happy Day Plants, John, who's a Longmont resident who has Down syndrome, he said, "I feel magic. Everywhere I see magic plants around me. And one important thing I have learned in my life is that I can learn the plants' names. Happy Day Plants is my wish come true." I have a couple other testimonials, but I'll pause there.
First of all, I know I have questions. Does the board have any questions for Katie? All right, so Katie, just to give you kind of overview how this works, the board is looking at their program and the outcomes and the things that you're asking for. I'm looking at as my role in reviewing and evaluating these applications is looking at the agency level kind of stuff. So your finances, your governance, and all that kind of stuff. And so, one of my questions that I had when I read the application, in your program budget, you break it down pretty global for 53,000, but what we put a template in there, and we put a template that we asked you all to follow for, particularly to see how much. So I'm not sure how much this program completely costs totally.
Yeah.
And so we just want to make sure that you are also City of Longmont doesn't want to be your primary funder.
Correct. Yes.
Right. That's just not our role to be the primary funder for any agency. Typically, I like to see between 5 and tops 20% should be covered by the City of Longmont in any program. But I didn't. So I just wanted to check in with you on that. how much
Sure.
is the expectation that Longmont's going to cover?
It would be hovering around that 15 to 20%, Eliberto. So thanks so much for bringing that up. We have a budget that we set for next year at $175,000. Now that includes a salary for Jessica of $60,000, which she has not taken yet. And so if we remove that, we can bring that percentage down. But I think it's really important what you're saying, Eliberto. And I want to say, number one, Happy Day Plants is a social enterprise. So they have funding coming in from the business side of their work that goes, so they have contributions from the business. Their financials are separate, but from the business into the nonprofit itself to help cover salaries for the focused employees, their training, insurance, other overhead like rent and those kind of things. We also have over 100 donors now, and that's just within getting at this at a year, including some major donors that are coming in at 5 figures. And so that's just incredible.
Wow.
So
Yeah,
it's
great.
really cool that such a new and small nonprofit is starting with this really robust donor base. And now we're layering in the grants and requests from local government agencies like the City of Longmont. So I'm really glad you brought that up. You know, if I'm looking right now, the other thing that brings in a lot of revenue is events. So they host events in the shop. Now that's part of what I was mentioning as the business side of the revenue that comes in. But for now, they're a nonprofit. Every event that some of them are free and some of them have charges, but there's always an opportunity to donate. And there's always focused employees at those events. Just a couple weeks ago, Bailey led her first terrarium building event activity, and that was really exciting. So we do have, and I'd be happy to provide more information about the diversification of the revenue streams.
That would be great. That would be super helpful.
Okay.
Yeah. All right. And I guess the other question to it, or concern that we can talk through if you do get funding is, typically Longmont's funds do not go for social type of events, right? So like the employment stuff is totally fine because we actually funded a program, and that was the other that reminds me, last year we funded a program that's being done by Imagine around developing. We helped cover costs for employment coaches for people with IDDs. And so that's fine. The employment stuff is fine. The social stuff may be a little bit harder for us to fund.
Sure.
But
so
the
the
question
Happy
that
Day
comes out
hang
is
piece.
right.
Yeah.
But the question that comes to me is, have you all done any work with Imagine and their employment services?
Absolutely. Yeah. Imagine is one of our core partners. So Imagine and Colorado Division of Vocational Rehabilitation, Friends of Broomfield, Plumeria Pathways. So St. Vrain, the SWAP. So Jessica works with all of them in terms of support with job coaching and training. And so that's an area where I know that we have these partnerships, but I would need Jessica to respond for more details on how they're all working.
That's fine. No, I just wanted to make sure because we did fund. It's not the same program. I mean, Happy Day Paint is a different program, but basically we funded job coaches and to create placements for Imagine's IDD clients. So.
Yeah, I think what's different is that this is, it's a business trying to create more of those opportunities for Imagine to place their folks. And it's also meant to, like, we're working right now with Relish Pickleball Hall here in Louisville. They want to see, like, okay, well, how could we even imagine having a program, welcoming adults with disabilities, intellectual disabilities to come in and work with us. And so, so that's just a really, I think, fascinating part of the program.
Okay, awesome. I just wanted to get those clarifying points.
Thank you.
Yeah. All right. Any more questions for Katie? All right.
I'm so grateful, you all. I know I'm on the back end here. Eliberto, I'll follow up with more details on those revenue streams for Happy Day Plants as well. Perfect. Do I just email you or Amy?
Email me. That's fine.
Okay.
And then
awesome.
I can email
Thank
the board.
you. Excellent. Thank you so much, everybody. I so appreciate your work. Take care.
Thank you.
All right, and we got our last agency in the waiting room. So just before you let them in, a quick thing. So technically, when I look at this application, it could be self-sufficiency or education. We kind of, yeah, Katie's shaking. Yeah, it could be either one. We put them in self-sufficiency, but it could have fallen in education as well. So just wanted to point that out. All right, let's go ahead and let Chris Moore in.
She did a very nice job pinch hitting for the other person.
She did.
Quite thorough and clear.
Yeah. All right, so let's let Chris Moore in from Parents Engagement Network. Hey, Chris.
Hi, good evening, everyone.
Yeah, good evening. So since you're a new application, I'm going to go a little bit deeper into how this process works than I have with other agencies who've been doing it for years. So first of all, this is being recorded. This will be on the City of Longmont YouTube page, so you can kind of tell City of Longmont residents what you do. So we got about a 15-minute time period. We're going to let you tell your story. Tell us exactly what you're applying for. We have a volunteer board. So these are Longmont residents that review and evaluate the applications. As staff, I also review a different part of the applications. I'm going to introduce everybody here in the call, and then we're going to turn it over to you. So first, let me introduce our board members. We got Jeffrey, who's been on for 2 years. Katie is new. We have, from our staff, we have Amy, who is our Human Services Admin Assistant. Our Human Services Director is Christina Pacheco. She's here with us tonight as well. And we have a special guest, Melissa from Senior Services. And so, Chris, we're going to turn it over to you. Tell us what you're applying for specifically, and tell us what you all are doing in Longmont.
Yes, thank you so much for staying late this evening. I have sat on boards before where I was asked to do our community service by staying late in the evening and listening to all the nonprofits talk about what they were doing. So I appreciate it. I'm Chris Moore. I'm the executive director with Parent Engagement Network, and I have been there a total of 2 months now. But I'm not new to the nonprofit world. I was with Habitat for Humanity for 20 years, and I was the CEO and executive director there of 16 of those 20 years. So not new to grants and nonprofit. At Parent Engagement Network, we are Boulder-centric nonprofit, but are expanding and working with all of our communities and neighbors in surrounding areas that include Longmont. I'm particularly interested in getting into Longmont because I have fallen in love with a couple of places downtown that show the Dallas Cowboy games, which is very rare in the NoCo sort of surrounding Boulder surrounding areas. So I'm just falling in love with the city itself. And what we do is we work very closely with parents. We are here to support them as they are navigating how difficult parenting can be. And if there's any parents here with us tonight, you know that from the time of birth all the way through, as I am an empty nester, you never have the answers, and you can always use a little bit of guidance on whatever that your children may be going through. Every age brings something new to us parents to try to figure out. And then when you do, something new in the world will be invented, like AI or vaping or a crisis like fentanyl or recovering from bullying at school. I mean, there's a long list of things that my older kids and I never had to discuss, but maybe my grandkids and I do, right? So Parent Engagement Network walks alongside the parents, and we host workshops, classes, talks. We also have a program where they can become ambassadors at their school and bring other parents into that discussion or book club to discuss those hard topics. So we're walking alongside them and also helping them to reach out and build that parenting community. So if you remember when your kids were starting, I don't know, 3rd grade, it was really nice to meet other 3rd grade parents that were dealing with the same things that we were all dealing with at the same time. And then it happens again and again and again. When you have that first freshman, how nice was it to meet other parents that had freshmen so that we could quietly, without the kids hearing us, talk about why do they always say no first? Why are they always asking me why? Why can't they get up in the morning? And those are the easy topics. Parent Engagement Network spends time going into the difficult topics, like how to reduce stress in today's climate, in today's environment, in today's everything that's going on. Y'all know that we've heard some tragic news stories that were happening in schools here in Colorado. So how do you have a conversation with your kiddo when they get home, no matter what age they are? How do you talk about what it feels like to be scared that day or why things happen? And so that is some of the things that we get to find speakers that are professional. One of the things that I've noticed the most about being here at Parent Engagement Network is that the vetting that the board members that have been here for 20 years, so please don't take my short amount of time as a representation of how long Parent Engagement Network has been in our communities. It has been here for 23 years, I believe, and some of our board members have been involved for that long. So with that history there, they have been able to vet out the speakers and find the professionals that can really speak the language of the parents, but also speak the language of the kids, so that we're really educating the parents so that it's not information they take back and try to have with their kids and their kids are not understanding. So it's teaching on two different levels, right? How as a parent do you handle this, and then how can you turn and pass this on to your kids? That's why when we look at our numbers, we discuss that if we have 200 parents attend our workshops, then that actually multiplies by how many kids, and if the average is 3 in the home, that multiplies to reaching 600 kids. Is that math? It's late, y'all. I've been mathing all day. Yes, yes. So you can see how that multiplies, and then if we're doing everything right, that would also multiply again as parents are building that network and talking to other parents. And maybe a neighbor wasn't able to attend the workshop with you. So you sit down, over a cup of coffee on Saturday and go, hey, what'd you learn about vaping? And how do we talk to our kids about vaping? Or have a difficult conversation about suicide prevention. So like I said, not only just the light stuff and building that network where you can talk about the best products or how to get your kiddo up and on time in the morning, but also going into those deep conversations that sometimes, or at least I'll speak for myself, I didn't get that as a parent. No one taught me how to have those conversations. And in my generation, some of those words weren't even said. We just didn't talk about it. And so we want to break down that barrier, build that network, engage our parents. And we believe that if we do that with our parents, it's going to help our children thrive and make our communities better. Because if our kiddos are thriving and feel less stressed and feel like they are able to speak about their mental health and talk about the scary things or talk about the questions that they have, then we know they're going to take it back to their schools. They're going to take it back to their clubs that they belong to, churches, community, the neighborhoods, the parks, everything that Longmont offers in the community. The kids and the parents are going to be able to talk about that. So that was the shortest way that I could possibly tell you about all the good works that they've been doing it for 20 years and that I'm so proud to be a part of. And I was able and blessed to raise lots of kiddos. And so I say to them, when I saw Parent Engagement Network, I knew that it was a place for me because I needed some of this help that we offer now.
Awesome. Any questions from board or staff?
Yeah, I'm just curious about structure. Is there, you mentioned workshops and events and that sort of thing, but is there a specific curriculum that you're following, or do parents sort of matriculate through the program, or is it more just casual meetups? How does it work?
So there's any way a parent wants to connect with us. So there is, like you were talking about, where they could just meet up. There's book clubs about a certain book. Of course, they are about parenting or something that kids in today's generation may be going through. we're having conversations about things that maybe there aren't a lot of books available, like the new stuff, the AIs, that sort of stuff. So they can meet us there. They can also, as far as going through a program, there's a couple different options. They can become an ambassador to where once a month they're meeting and talking about at the last meeting, there was the Parent Engagement Network said, what do y'all want to talk about this year in the school year? What are the topics that are coming up for y'all? And that allows the parents to really say what's happening with their kids, and so that we can respond to what is happening in the now. And then there's another program, like we're about to host a workshop that has several weeks in it, and it is about the environment and recycling and keeping it green, but also about the stress that some of our generations now are seeing and having that conversation. They're having it on a different level than I was ever able to have it, or even my kids were able to have it, as far as, what do we do with an earth that hasn't maybe been taken care of, right? That's a big stress if you really sit down and think about it. So there's programs like that, and we'll be developing more. And then there's also one-offs where we will host a specific topic, that maybe about fentanyl. I know they had a successful one before I joined about fentanyl, where they saw a lot of participants come in that they hadn't seen before, but it was a topic that they wanted to talk about, and even have training in that about Narcan and how to respond and how to see the signs and that sort of thing. So we're trying to have as many outlets for parents to join us where they can meet us, right? You may not have the time to do a full program. You may only be interested in one topic. So we're trying to, and then as far as do we have one for this school year, our strategic planning meeting is October 18th. I hate that I'm seeing y'all before then, because I would love to tell y'all about a full calendar of stuff, but I don't want to speak before the board approves and has their input on what that calendar is going to look like. But that is our goal.
Could you talk a little bit around geography? I kind of was looking at your website and it's pretty broad, and I was wondering if you could speak to kind of specifically Longmont.
So the history was it started in the Boulder Valley School District and was there for many years. And then as board members came on and maybe kids were in Boulder, but they moved here, or they were there and they moved to Boulder. But specifically, I think the impact in Longmont, from what I have heard and met the folks that I'm going to talk about, is Stacy was the previous executive director. She's now at the Learning Center. And she was the executive director for 3 years and lived in Longmont. So she was able to start really strengthening those connections in Longmont with not only donors but also with the parents and with the community itself, and to hear that feedback. We also have Monty. Please don't test me on last names. Monty.
I know
can
Monty.
Yes, he works at the bank, and he also is really tied in with Longmont and has given me a long list of folks that we can reach out to. And then also at the Learning Center, the executive director, Matt Eldred, is also there. And so not only is it, we heard the need from parents saying, hey, we may not have this exact program or this exact topic or this, but our kids are going through that too, right? And so we know the need to expand. And I think that Stacy and Monty and Matt have really laid the groundwork for that to really happen, which is in turn why we reach out to grantors in the area to say, if we're going to expand, we're going to need the income to make that happen.
Are there behavioral outcomes that you're measuring? How do you know if you're successful?
Yes. So I think one of the behavioral outcomes that I was impressed with was a really in-depth survey after the workshops, where we're getting firsthand feedback on how the parents received the information and then possibly like how they use it in their lives. I don't know if we can record data on how we prevented kids from vaping or how many kids were able to talk to parents. So what we have to do is take the feedback of how useful the parents thought it was. And then I think there's other data such as how many folks are returning for other classes. You know, did I learn enough in this class that I am so interested in what Parent Engagement Network is doing that I'm going to attend other classes? Feedback on suggestions of topics. If they trust us, which are, like I said, the resources of our speakers, they will, then they're going to reach out and say, hey, there may be something going on in downtown Denver that I could join, but I know that y'all are going to vet those speakers and bring some quality workshops to us.
Thank you.
All right. So we are at time. Any last
Already?
questions for? Yeah, it goes fast.
I know.
It goes fast.
We could talk about this for hours, guys. Y'all don't want to stay up
Yeah.
late.
Oh, yeah. We've been on here for hours.
Yeah, I know.
Our board are wonderful volunteers.
Yes, of course.
All right. So thank you so much, Chris, for your time, and have a great rest of your evening. Board, you want to stay on for just a second, and then
Yes.
we'll wrap up.
Okay. Thank y'all so much for letting me talk about Parent Engagement Network, and I'll talk to y'all soon.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you. We want to
All right,
stop
just
the
real quick.
recording?
No, this is fine.
Or is it
Just
still
real
part
quick,
of the meeting? Okay.
Yeah. Just real quick, if you just a reminder, if you have any questions that you didn't get answered tonight, just email me and I will reach out to the agencies. And other than that, thank you all for another great evening. Melissa, what the previous person did, and we'll ask you the same thing, is if you don't mind sending me an email that I can send to the board with kind of your thoughts. Like what they did, which I thought was really helpful, is they prioritize, hey, because we do have limited funds. If with limited funds, here are the agencies that I would prioritize for funding. And then
That's
we'll
a good
take
idea.
that into, yeah, that's what the last person did too from Senior Services, and it was really appreciated. So if you could do that, that would be great.
Perfect. I can do that.
All right. Thank you.
Thank
All right,
you,
folks.
Melissa.
Thank you. You're welcome.
Thank
Have a
you
good
all.
night.
Have a great rest of your night.
Thank
Thanks,
you.
everyone.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.
All righty.